Jascha, how would you describe the state of the union of marketing sales alignment?
Well, it's always in flux, and it's something that we're kind of collectively, both organizations, are working on together to be better with. I think about it a little bit like Dancing with the Stars. Sales and marketing, sometimes one partner is a little bit stronger than the other. The end goal is to get the best score you possibly can from the judges, but we're not always at a point yet where we've gone through the right training together and really have all that muscle memory to be a fantastic partnership.
What steps or process should people follow when starting a marketing sales alignment process?
Yeah. Well, for me, in the times that I've gone through the process of organizing between sales and marketing, it always and fundamentally starts with understanding clear objectives between the value exchange between the two organizations. I don't want that to sound too high level. Very practically what it means is at the point in time where marketing hands something to the sales organization and the sales team believes that there's value in it, you've got to have a really strong comprehension of what that is and then what the objectives around it are. So every company is a little bit different. I'll give you an example. I worked for a company, Web Trends, in the analytics space, a very traditional B2B company, a very large ASP for deals. Our value exchange was always around the sales accepted lead. And our goal in marketing was built around the objectives we set up to drive more sales accepted leads. Coming to a company like Mindjet, where we're a very high transaction B2B business, our handoff actually looks different. And this is why I say it's very important to make sure you understand what that value exchange looks like. Here, we look at both the handoff of the sales accepted lead on a kind of traditional B2B world, but we also have to look at it from a pure trial acceptance perspective. And so every company is going to be a little bit different. That's the very first and most important thing you can do. As simple as it sounds, it's the absolute most meaningful agreement you can get with the sales organization if you're in marketing.
What are the biggest mistakes you've seen that negatively impact sales marketing alignment?
Yeah, the promise of technology, hands down, is one of the biggest inhibitors to success between the two organizations. There is a tremendous amount of really powerful value propositions that exist on behalf of software companies that are selling to sales and marketing. Pick your Salesforces, your Oracles, your Eloquas, your Marketos. The promises are absolutely enormous. And the promises are that when you select a software partner and bring them in, whether it be on behalf of the sales team or the marketing team, that it's going to solve all of your challenges. Like this, in and of itself, the promise that software is going to fix everything for you or even make it incrementally better is one of the biggest fallacies that exists in our space. And one of the biggest challenges between sales and marketing teams that think they can fix the problems that they have purely by investing in software.
What are the most important metrics to track and review to ensure that alignment practices are healthy?
Yeah, well, we look at it in a couple of different ways here at Mindjet, and I've looked at it very similarly in other businesses. It's about kind of the predictive measures that are going to show potential success of the value exchange between sales and marketing. So in very plain English, it's the amount of opportunities that as a marketing organization you're growing in your database that you have the potential to hand to your sales team. The hard metric is the exchange from sales to marketing, the acceptances of the marketing lead to the sales accepted lead. And then the next piece that's actually equally as important is on the engagement through the sales pipeline. Through the sales pipeline and the stages. So a marketing team has to be acutely aware of the quality of the opportunities after the acceptance and how well they're helping the sales team actually move through to close business. But it is kind of prediction first, it's the hard handoff, and then it's the acceleration through the stages in the sales side that are the core areas that you have to set up your metrics against.
Well, what metrics should chief sales and chief marketing executives be measured on and have bonuses tied to?
For us, it's pretty simple. It's the pipeline that is available for the sales organization and the closed business that you have, period. It's pretty simple.
What practices do you recommend implementing to foster marketing sales alignment?
Yeah, a couple things. So first, kind of good executive alignment is really important. It's kind of maybe said without being said that you have to have good alignment, but really spending time together, empathizing the business is important. So for me, I like to spend time with our head of sales around the world and be with them during their forecast calls, understand what their pains are. Kind of having good empathy, kind of executive to executive, is number one. Number two is that I think it's a really strong practice to build up an operations organization within marketing, one that's responsible for the cleanliness of the data that you have available to you, and the reporting of the data and the analysis of the data that's shared between the sales and marketing teams. I like the practice of bringing the sales tools like Salesforce in addition to the marketing tools, let's say Eloqua, together into an operations team to actually help run the business. The third area, and this is something that I've been experimenting with more over the last couple of years, is actually taking somebody who is effectively a product marketer, kind of a specialist in the value proposition and the materials that you're producing in the company, putting them into the field marketing teams and actually partnering them very closely with the regional sales teams. What this does is it kind of allows for both alignment at the executive level, kind of alignment at the operational and data level, and then from a field readiness perspective, it really fosters great communications between the sales team and the marketing team by making sure that the materials that the sales team needs are readily accessible, even if they don't know how to find them.
Who should make up the marketing sales team, and how should the collaborative unit work?
Well, for me, I've always been comfortable with a separate marketing team and a separate sales team, but I completely appreciate organizations that are structured under a CRO or even a CMO, and have both of those teams that kind of work from there under. I think you've got a couple of critical points of touch. Mentioned them in kind of the previous question that you asked me. You've got a point of touch with your product marketing team, your field marketing team, and your field sales organization. That's a really critical area where you have to foster great communication. You have to make sure that organizationally you're aligned. The second area is on the operations side. It's absolutely critical to be able to understand and empathize with pipeline coverage and how you're contributing to pipeline coverage in the marketing team. And it's also really critical to make sure that the data that you're using to operationalize your business is all very clean and accessible to all the different parts of the organization. Structurally, you can put that together in a lot of different ways, but you have to facilitate all of those kind of points of connections in whatever the organizational structure is that you have.
When you look forward for the year, what trends do you see in marketing sales alignment?
Bigger and more sophisticated investments in marketing operations, and that would include analytics kind of more broadly. The requirement for the marketing team to be very sophisticated with their technology operations I would consider to be base state, but it's going to be a growth area, in my opinion, on the marketing side. Great people that understand analytics, kind of setting up maybe your Hadoop store that sits behind your firewall, that you're flowing all of your information from your product through to your marketing side, and being able to use that to actually empower the way that the team works. I would consider to be a pretty big investment area for a lot of marketing teams.